Climate Solution Prize. Ladies and gentlemen, Jeff Hart.
Hey everybody, good afternoon. Bon après-midi à tous. Shalom lekulam. I'm just going to quickly discuss what CSP is, how it started, and some of the future for the Climate Solution Prize. Basically, for those of you that are not fully aware, as concerned citizens of the world, the Jewish people who believe in tikkun olam, literally healing the world, we saw the problems with climate change. JNF being one of the greenest Jewish organizations, having planted millions of trees over the years and being responsible for helping improve the land of Israel, that how can we help make a difference and put the brain power of the startup nation that has solved so many existential problems to work for solving one of the world's greatest existential problems in climate change. And so we leverage the idea of incentive prizes to make that happen. So prizes for the best ideas coming out of Israel to help solve the climate challenge in front of us. And we also have now launched one in Quebec as well. And so we actually took a number of Montrealers, actually Canadians, a few Americans to Israel to see some of the greatest technology. This is air-powered batteries, solar power in Israel, with some of the key inventors who deployed solar technology across the country, an investment conference, bringing together over 1,000 people with different innovator stages and hearing from the latest ideas and trends in climate change solutions. And we're doing the same thing in Quebec in May at Le Grand Quai de Montréal. So we're very, very excited for the impact we've been having, and hope to help solve this problem together in a way that we can all be proud of for future generations. And with no further ado, I'm going to be allowing Phil to introduce one of the winners, Professor Malachi Noked. Phil, take it off.
Thank you, Jeff. So today, as Jeff mentions, we are joined by Professor Malachi Noked from Bar-Ilan University, which was founded in 1955 in Ramat Gan. Bar-Ilan University is Israel's fastest growing institute of higher education with over 20,000 degree students. Unique in Israel, Bar-Ilan is the country's only university that requires all students to take courses in Jewish studies along with their chosen areas of study. Renowned for their outstanding science, welcoming campus, and diverse student body, Bar-Ilan University is equally acknowledged for its unwavering commitment to the future of Kal Israel, the Jewish nation. For over 50 years, the Canadians have partnered with Bar-Ilan University, Israel's second largest post-secondary institute and Israel's leader in crucial areas such as renewable energy, electrical, engineering, and artificial intelligence. Together, we are helping Bar-Ilan University achieve its vision of impacting tomorrow today. From Bar-Ilan University, today we are joined by Dr. Malachi Noked, who conducted his PhD studies as an Eshkol scholar under the supervision of Professor Doron Orbach at Bar-Ilan University, studying carbon materials and electrochemical water treatment. For his studies, Dr. Noked accepted the Excellent Graduate Student Award of the Israel Chemical Society. After graduating, Dr. Noked was chosen as the Fulbright Ilan Ramon Fellow and conducted his postdoctoral studies at the Energy Frontier Research Center, led by University of Maryland, where he utilized nanofabrication and surface modification techniques for applied electrochemistry and served as an instructor in the Department of Material Science and Engineering. Dr. Noked returned to Bar-Ilan University 2 years ago to establish a new research laboratory. He is the awardee of the prestigious Yigal Allon Fellowship for Young Scientists. He also has the state-of-art synthesis capabilities and tools, and more important, a crew of 12 motivated students. Professor Noked is one of the 3 inaugural winners of the Climate Solutions Prize, and we are pleased to have him here today. If any of you have questions for him following his keynote, please type them into the chat. And without further ado, Professor Noked, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much for the introduction and for having me today. I will share my screen just a sec. So, are you able to see my presentation?
We're good.
Good. Okay. Hello, everyone. Happy after Purim. Today, I want to present my project, which is funded by JNF and KKL. It's going to be a presentation about sodium-ion batteries for large energy storage as a viable solution for decarbonization. I'm affiliated with the Department of Chemistry at Bar-Ilan University, but also with the new Energy Center, Energy and Sustainability Center at Bar-Ilan, and the Nanotechnology Center. So this is Bar-Ilan University here at the left, located in the center of Israel. This is the Nano Center. It's a triplex. It's a nano building. You can see here, this is the building itself. My lab is on the 7th floor. We grew up a little bit since this photo was taken. We are already 25 people. Our funding, I want to thank the funding from the Climate Solution Prize. We are also funded by Israel Science Foundation, European Commission, BEARD, Ministry of National Resources, Energy and Water, and also others. So the context of my talk today, I'm going to speak about why do we need energy storage solution and batteries, not only in the context of electric vehicles. I will give a brief introduction to the mechanism of and behavior or operation of batteries, and also the status of their production and the current need. I will show our proposed battery system under the Climate Solution Prize as the alternative to currently available lithium-ion battery. So the decarbonization process is, as you all know, in a dire need for energy storage solutions. Why is it so? If we look on carbon dioxide per unit of energy, let's take kilowatt hour as a unit we all know from our electric bill. So we look at the kilowatt hour and the grams of carbon dioxide that is released to the atmosphere. If we are dealing with coal, it's going to be more than 1 kilogram of carbon dioxide per kilowatt hour. If we want to talk about natural gas as the resource for our electricity, it's going to be more than 400 grams per kilowatt hour. If we want to look on photovoltaics, a PV panel, we can get to 33, significantly lower amount of evolved carbon dioxide into the environment. This is under complete cycle analysis, and this is under the assumptions that we are not using energy storage. This is from the German Environment Agency. If I look into international analysis of where we are at in various countries, let's say India as an example, or China, or even Europe, if we want to get from few hundreds of grams of carbon dioxide per kilowatt hour, we must embed and implement storage solution into the electricity net. So if we want to go from, in India, for example, for 900 or more than that gram per kilowatt hour, we must implant energy storage. This is why it is very important for decarbonization to be capable of storing energy from green energy sources. When we are choosing the energy storage methodology, we need always to consider efficiency. And by looking at various alternatives for energy storage, for example, if I take hydrogen as a viable solution for energy storage, we can see that the efficiency for storing energy, electricity to electricity, is about 50%, theoretically speaking. Practically, it's even lower. Batteries is more than 90% efficiency from electricity to electricity. This is why batteries are highly important and suitable for energy storage, not only for electric vehicles, but also for the grid. As a short introduction to how modern battery work, I will introduce you to the so-called rocking chair batteries. The Nobel laureates of this chemistry are the three professors here, Professor John Goodenough, Professor Stanley Whittingham, and Dr. Akira Yoshino. When we look on two phases, we don't really need to go into the chemistry, but think of a blue phase and a green phase, where the blue phase really want to give electrons to the green phase. Let's call the blue one a donor and the green one acceptor. If I will put these two phases together, there will be a transfer of electrons from the blue phase that really want to give electrons to the green phase. The transfer of electrons will happen together with the transfer of positive charges. So the electron is a negative charge. It's going to move together with a positive charge. This movement is going to be spontaneous. We cannot really take electricity from this kind of process because the movement is spontaneous. It's going to be very exothermal. It's going to release heat. And we want to do it in a way that we can control the movement of the electrons or the flow of electricity. This is what we call current. The way we are doing it is separating these two phases. There will be the donor phase that's going to give electrons and the acceptor phase. But we are putting one phase in between that will not let electrons go through, but only the positive charges, the red balls. Now, if we connect that to a bulb or to a car, we will have a flow of electrons through the consumer, and it will go from one phase to another. This is how it will be. We will call it anode, will be the negative electrode, cathode will be our positive electrode, and the flow of electron will be through the wire, where the ions will move through the electrolyte. This is a battery discharge, and this is the battery charge. We can make the ion and electron move from one side to another. This is the technology that really run many applications, and we can put huge numbers on the right. Every number will make sense. The global secondary battery market is going to be huge because we have it in electric vehicle, also in portable devices. It's going to be in charging stations for electric vehicles and also in energy storage. In order to have this amount of batteries in the market, we need to have capabilities of production. So for example, European battery production forecast is going to be, or it's projected to be by 2030, more than 600 gigawatt hour. And this is going to be, in short, we need more than that for electric vehicles only, let alone the fact that we will also need batteries for energy storage. These numbers are from companies, let's say CATL as an example, is the largest battery manufacturer in the world. And these are forecasts. It means it is already announced that these are either already established facilities or going to be established very soon. In order just to keep numbers in mind, in order to have 650 gigawatt hour, every 1 gigawatt hour is about 5,000 of tons of active materials. So this is really the amount of active materials we need to have there is huge. The North America production forecast is also very big. It's behind Europe, but it's also getting bigger and bigger. We have some startup companies also looking for solid state batteries and liquid-based batteries, but North America is also more and more production is forecasted for the near future. In order to produce batteries, I just want you to see how it looks from the inside. So if I look on electric vehicle, the red car over here, or energy storage container, from the interior of the container or the vehicle, we can, when we take these energy storage systems apart, we can see that they are all built of single cells. This is a single cells, and we have many of these cells in electric vehicles, and even more in energy storage container. Now, these cells can be in various form factors. You can see here, we have cylindrical cells, or we have stacked cells, or we have prismatic cells. Now, they all have few things in common. One of the most important things is that when we look here to the interior of the cell, there will always be layers. Now, I'm going to zoom in to these layers to explain what are they composed of. If I look on the layers here, we can see that we have powder of black particles, powder of gray particles, and the black particles are really small. Every particle is 5 micrometers in diameter. I mean, take a meter divided by 1,000,000, 5 parts like that in a diameter of the particle. These are the positive particles. Remember, the one that want to get the electrons. The negative particles, or the anode side, is also particles based mostly on graphite. And in the cells, we will have copper current collector for the anode side and aluminum current collector for the cathode side. In order to produce the cathode materials, the black particles over here, there is a great challenge because lithium resource in the world is becoming more and more limited. Same goes for other active components in this cathode material. So as an example here from Volkswagen, we can see lithium, cobalt, and nickel are highly important for them for the electric vehicles. And it started with mining, going to refining, cathode production, etc. But there's going to be an issue, and there is already an issue of chain of supply for nickel and lithium, and cobalt can have also other issues. So active materials for lithium ion are in great challenge because we need to have materials that are abundant, available, and the cost is not controlled by the electric vehicle market. So let's take one example is cobalt. So the cobalt distribution is very problematic because 65% of the cobalt is produced in Congo. Some of it are uncontrolled and let's say it is child labor, and it is very problematic. This is why we want to take the cobalt into minimum percentages in a battery active material. This is an example for cobalt, and nickel and lithium also follows the same trend. So our proposed solution is to take the active material in the battery. Instead of using lithium-ion battery, we're going to use sodium-ion batteries, where the active materials will have zero metals which are non-environmental friendly, like cobalt or nickel. We want to take this material down. We're going to use sodium ion in order to avoid and to replace lithium, which is less environmental friendly and far more expensive. And we're also going to get rid of this copper current collector, because the way we developed our anode in this project, we are capable of using aluminum on both sides. So it's also going to take the price and the toxicity of this battery significantly low. The cost goal for our battery is going to be 30% in terms of price of the active material when comparing to sodium-ion battery. The good thing about our approach is that we can take the active material we develop in this project, and we can easily implant them in a manufacturing unit which are already used in the lithium industry. So our solution will be easy to manufacture and will also decrease the dependency on materials which are not environmentally friendly and hazardous. So these are few examples, or two examples of battery discharge and charge for material developed in my laboratory. These are vanadium-free and also nickel-free cathodes, cobalt-free in both cases. And these materials will be further developed under the project funded, thanks to you, under the Climate Solution Prize. The anode side is also going to be developed based on bio-waste in order to decrease also the environmental pollution coming from synthesis of anode materials. So to summarize, energy storage is a key factor on our way for decarbonization. Batteries are efficient, therefore suitable for large energy storage. Economy of metal is mandatory, and sodium is the perfect solution as an alternative for lithium-ion. We will develop sodium-ion batteries to enable full independency on coal or gas, and our batteries will be easy to manufacture in lithium-ion battery facility. The IP will be on the active material on both the anode and the cathode side, with huge market size. Utilization of our energy storage solution will enable to reduce the greenhouse emission due to the electricity production to less than 10%. With that, I would like to thank you for listening. This is a group in the COVID times, and these are more happy times in Jerusalem. Thank you for listening. I'll be happy to take questions now.
Thank you for that presentation. Just sending your screen share so we can start chatting.
So I have a question.
Oh, jump right in, Jeff.
So if you had to do your best guess of when this might come to commercialization, what would that be?
Oh, hold on. We got muted. The famous words.
Good, thank you. Thank you. So I was muted. So the good thing about this technology is that we can really expedite commercialization because production can be done on an existing facility of lithium-ion batteries. So I would say that even 5 years from now, it's going to be realistic to have batteries in the market based on this technology.
Wow, great.
Let me ask you a follow-up to that. So right now, you know, a lot of people, they're going out, they're getting electric cars, but for many, electric cars are not, they're not realistically priced. With this research, with this development, do you think that electric cars, Teslas, so be it, do you think they can become more affordable for the everyday driver? Oh, you muted yourself again. Here we go.
Yeah, okay, I'm sorry. So the answer is yes, from two aspects. One is that the cost of the battery based on sodium-ion battery is expected to be less than 30% comparing to lithium. Now, the good thing it will do, you will have affordable batteries, but it will also influence the price of the lithium-ion batteries because right now they do not have a competitor. Once the sodium-ion battery will become mature enough, then the lithium will need also to be, the price of the lithium-ion batteries will also be balanced.
Okay. So 5 years, no, I don't think any of us expected such a close guess when Jeff asked the question, but over the next 5 years, what's going to happen while you're in the process of commercializing your product? What do you see happening to the automotive industry over the next 5 years?
Wow. You know,
no
I'm
crystal
a chemist.
ball. No one's
I'm a
going to give you
chemist by
fluids.
training. Okay. With the disclaimer that I'm a chemist, and I'm, you know, despite my first name, which was the last prophet, I am not a prophet. I can say that based on forecasted production by huge industries that really attempts to have sodium ion as an alternative, they claim to have maybe 3 years from now cells that are operating with sodium ion. And once we will get to 80% of the capabilities of lithium ion, the cheap one, it's LFP-based technology, then the sky is the limit. So we can really, it's going to influence profoundly the electric vehicles because all the short distances, 200 kilometers a day, can be easily replaced with sodium ion. The three-wheelers, the two-wheelers can be easily replaced with sodium ion. Energy storage facilities that care less about the energy densities and more about the environment and the price of the system will all be sodium ion. So it's really, the sky is the limit for this technology.
I know we had told the participants to type their questions into the chat, but we're getting a lot of hand raising. So we're going off script now. Lance Davis, feel free to unmute and ask your question.
That was a great presentation. As a non-scientist, I found it very easy to understand what you're driving at. I'm sure it's much, much more complex, but I think you really did a great job speaking to lay people. So thank you for that. My question is about the size of the batteries. I know that's one of the challenges. A number of years ago, a few of us on this call were in the Arava, and we were talking to some of the leaders who provided solar power so that when the sun is shining during the day, it's all solar and it's not a problem at all. But when the sun sets, they have to import electricity from the coast over lines, and it's so inefficient. And so we said, well, why don't you just store that solar power in batteries? And they said the size that's required to provide electricity to this region is just gigantic. It just doesn't make sense. It's inefficient to build these gigantic batteries. Is your plan to a certain degree to shrink the batteries down so they're more manageable size, so that a place like the Arava could just exist exclusively on solar plus the battery storage from that solar during the evening hours? Okay,
thank you for your question and also for the comment on my presentation. I really try to make it understandable. It is really way more complex when you go into details of the science. So thank you for the comment. It is very nice and timely questions because last week I had a meeting in my office with the scientist in ICL, the Israel Chemical Company. They're going to make green dome. That's going to be, this is their dream. very close to the Arava you mentioned, and they are now looking for storage solution. And by looking into the batteries we are producing, this seems to be the best solution for them. So it's going to be shrinked enough in the right price, the right longevity, and also the small impact on the environment that they are willing to implant them as a solution in their project Storm Yeruka. So the green storm is going to be 2028. They will have batteries and as storage solution in their system.
What about once the batteries die? Because all batteries eventually do die, need to be replaced.
Not Malachi's batteries.
If
Yeah.
Malachi's batteries were to die, disposing of them, how does that affect the planet and the environment?
This is a very good question. Because when you are now talking about lithium-ion batteries, this is a perfect question. Lithium-ion batteries regulation is a way behind comparing to technology. And many of the batteries really contains hazardous materials, hazardous component in them, like cobalt or nickel or even lithium. Part of the idea behind this battery is that sodium, we have more sodium ion than we can deal with in the Dead Sea or in the environment. So sodium is much more environmental friendly. Same are the metals that I'm dealing with in the current proposal. And the liquids inside the batteries are also not hazardous comparing, like they are not even labeled as a hazardous liquid, but comparing to the liquids in lithium ion, there is nothing to compare. So these are environmental friendly batteries. And the cathode materials, which are the major part that really need recycling, are also easier to recycle. So all the answers are pointing to the same direction, that this technology is really suitable for large energy storage. It's going to be out there in the desert or in the Arava or anywhere else in the world.
And a follow-up to that we just received is, how long would your batteries last compared to the ones on the current market?
Okay, so even the ones on the current market, there is a huge spectrum. There are lithium-ion batteries that can survive maybe 500 cycles, and this is their goal. There are lithium-ion batteries that can survive 3,000 cycles, and their projected lifetime is 20 years or 15 to 20 years. This is what is guaranteed. And the batteries we are talking about going to survive 3,000 to 5,000 cycles, meaning between 15 to 25 years.
Going back into the audience, we have Evelyn Schachter who has her hand up. So Evie, I'm about to unmute you and feel free to ask your question.
I wanted to ask about the life expectancy, and you just said 25 years, that's extraordinary. What about the disposal, the ultimate disposal of them? Okay, so the plan is to make these batteries based on materials that can be easily recycled. And then the disposal will be, it's going to be a closed loop. We're going to produce them, and then we're going to use them, and then we're going to recycle them at the same facility. Thank you.
So the purpose of the Climate Solutions Prize when it was first envisioned was to harness Israel's innovation, which predominantly we always focus on cybersecurity, medical, et cetera, and show the Israeli community that, you know, there is a future in green technologies and clean technologies. What brought you to focus on environmental solutions?
Wow, this is a very good. So I
get to know the real Malachi.
Yeah, I grew up at the north. I'm a second of 12. My father is a shepherd, and I grew up in the field next to the water. And I saw that when I was a young child, very small, I saw many water in the Golan Heights. And then we had issue of water. And when I was a kid, there was a slogan, every drop matters. And I decided that when I grow up, I'm going to deal with water desalination. And this is what I did in my master. I did research on water desalination by electrochemistry. And then water was kind of solved, or it became less of an issue. But water is really entangled with energy. And then I moved a little bit to energy. I did it at the end of my PhD and then in my postdoc. And I think I made a very important decision for my career, but also for the environment, because energy is really a solution for water, for environment, and for our current climate situation.
How do you pass along that message to upcoming to future professors, to current students, to the younger generation who think to themselves, you know, I need to invent some sort of technology that's going to, you know, the typical ones that they'll think of that will, you know, or will take them straight to the bank. How do you pass along that message to the younger generation that there is a future in green and clean technologies?
So I visited high schools, 5 high schools only in the last year, giving talks about energy and the climate crisis. I also ran a workshop on energy storage for students and also for youngest from the high schools. I will have 3 high school students doing research in my lab for their Bar-Ilan, their final exam. And I have 25 students, young people in my lab that are being trained, and they think energy and climate every day. I think that's the way to go. The more we have research on this field, the more likely to have a solution. And then the more likely that the population and the people surrounding us will know what is the challenge and will also take it more seriously.
So we fast forward now 5 years, you're commercializing. How will your work change the automotive industry and the planet?
Okay.
No crystal ball, no profits.
Yes, I hope, let's say, I hope that when we succeed, and it's going to be a when we succeed, not if, because if it's not 5, maybe it's 10. But when we succeed, our solution will be suitable for energy storage for huge amount of energy. So we need the capabilities to produce few gigawatt hour for energy storage per year in order to really meet 0 carbon signature by 2050 in Israel, or similar production for other states in the world. The electric vehicle or the 2-wheelers, 3-wheelers, I visited India 3 times the last year, really looking into people over there that will be interested in investing or looking into the solution that are based on energy storage for 2-wheelers, 3-wheelers over there. You know, they have electric 2-wheelers or 3-wheelers not based on modern batteries. So I think 5 to 10 years from now, there will be a profound effect on greenhouse emission based on energy storage, either for the grid or for electric vehicles, for micromobility to larger electric vehicles.
So you mentioned the world, and we got a question about, you know, I know it gets a little bit cold in Israel, but when you come visit us here in Canada, we'll show you what the true winter is like. And the question is, how will a sodium-ion battery perform in cold climates such as, you know, central Canada, northern USA, compared to a lithium battery?
Okay, this is a good question, because comparing to lithium-ion batteries, our again forecast or anticipated behavior in low temperature is better than lithium-ion batteries, because the chemistry, and I'm not going to go into too much details, but chemistry associated with the intercalation of the ions in the cathode we produce and the anode we produce is less affected by the environment compared to the currently available lithium ion.
And the follow-up to that was also the weight of your batteries compared to the current market.
Okay, so the goal of the project we proposed here, the weight of the battery is going to be similar to the lithium ion with a similar energy. So if we get, I think the breakthrough based on our calculation, if there will be a decision making of going to lithium or to sodium, and this is a good news for sodium, 75% in terms of performance, 75%, it's enough to really change, to shift the industry towards sodium solution. Because for large energy storage or for vehicles which are short distance, lithium price is a big issue. when we get to large energy storage, also the environmental effect of the battery is also a big issue, and the regulation will wake up. Right? In Israel, they are now formulating regulations for energy storage. The states, the government will wake up, and then lithium will have an issue. So if we get to more than 75% in terms of performance comparing to the current lithium, we are in a very good position, and we will get better than that.
You had mentioned earlier the goal of net zero. What percentage of your solution does it get us to that? How much of your solution does that help get us there, I suppose?
So I think what I showed on my second slide, if you go back there, you will see that the production of electricity today, let's say if we get even to natural gas, we release per kilowatt hour more than 400 grams of CO2. And we want to take this number to less than 40, profoundly less than 40, then everything needs to be photovoltaics. But this is really not enough because, as you said, there is day, there is night, there is winter. Storing energy is highly important in order to take the numbers to the 5 to 10 gram of CO2 per kilowatt hour. So we take really 500 and reduces to 5. This is how profound the effect of this technology is. And it's also going to be a combination with other technology. It's not going to be the sole technology, but it's going to be very important for decarbonization.
So on March 1st, 2022, JN of Canada, KKL, Startup Nation Central launched the Climate Solutions Prize in Israel at the Press Center. You heard about it, you applied. Fast forward to August 26, 2022, you're announced on stage in the Hulda Valley, in the Hulda Forest as one of the winners. Multiple part question. Were you surprised that of all the solutions being presented in Israel, that number one, you were named a winner? Number two, the funding you received from the Climate Solutions Prize, how is that going to help you now further develop and reach your goal of commercialization? And the part three would be, what can the Climate Solutions Prize and JN of Canada do to encourage more solutions to come out from Israel with goals like yours?
Okay, so the first one is easy. I know that the competitors in Israel are very strong, so I did not raise my expectations. I was very happy to know that I was one of the elected solution. And yes, I was surprised and happy, and thank you for that, for your belief. Now, the second part, I think I'll go to the third one. So it's gonna enable me really to extend my research and try many new configurations and materials that I can only dream of. And thank you very much for your support. This is very important to us. There are students that are eager to come. I have in my laboratory students from Russia, from Japan, from China, from India. They really look for opportunity to work in our laboratories in Israel. And you enabled 3 more students to come and run the research in the frontiers of material science for energy storage. And I think it's going to be very, very thanks to your initiative that we're going to be succeeding in producing the sodium-ion batteries. So thank you very much for that. And I think this kind of opportunity, and if you want me to really spread the rumor about this important prize, I'm happy to do so in Israel, because once scientists will understand how strong is your support and how really you're eager to make a difference, I think that's going to be, your enthusiasm is going to be catching others. And I'm happy to help you, because I think you're well-deserved and you're really making an impact. Thank you very much for that.
For those who don't know, and Malachi, I actually don't know if you know, we recently just closed the application process for the competitions for research and startups locally here in Quebec, Canada. We currently actually introduced a new prize, which we didn't have the opportunity to do in Israel, but it's a student entrepreneur prize. So really pushing the innovation from the younger generation. Now, I just realized, we were talking about March 1st and August 20 and October 26th, but some people actually may not have a clue what we're talking about when we say the Hulda Forest. So I'd like to take a moment and show everybody where we were on October 26th when the Climate Solutions Prize powered by JNF awarded our 3 solutions. Over $2.2 million was awarded on that day in the Hulda Forest towards climate solutions. And on May 23rd and 24th, we are pleased to be bringing a local festival in Montreal, Quebec, Canada, which if you follow us on social media, subscribe to our newsletter, we'll be sending you a link momentarily. You'll have all the information. Professor Noked, any final words before we start to say our goodbyes?
I just wanted to thank you again and wish you good luck. I think your success is the world's success. Thank you very much for your support. I look forward to seeing you again in Israel. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Before we say goodbye, I'd like to bring on Mo Liebman, the president of JNF Quebec, to say a few words. Mo, feel free to unmute your...
Hi, everyone. Thank you very much, Professor. It was very enlightening. And I too understood a lot more this week than I did last week. So thank you so much for that. On behalf of JNF Quebec, we thank you and thank everyone for being here. The next interview with the third winner will be next week at the same time. So check your email for the link. You'll have it the same day or the day before. And we look forward to seeing what more CSP Climate Solution Prize has in the future, including the Quebec Festival. So keep up the good work, and thank you guys so much for being here.
Thank you, Mo.
Thank you.
We talked about CSP. We mentioned, it's powered by JNF. JNF, this is one of the JNF Canada's largest initiatives with a hefty bar set for where we want to get to. JNF does a lot more than just CSP. So for those of you joining us for the first time, we're just going to give you a quick view of what JNF Canada does.
Together with JNF Canada, we're able to conserve the historical heritage of Bet Eshel.
Together, with GNF Canada, we build a village for autistic people to live safely and independently.
Together with JNF Canada, we have created a physical activity program to help children with chronic diseases and disabilities.
Together with JNF Canada, we're expanding our facilities to enhance the vital work being done here at the Dr. Dalit After School Center.
Together with JNF Canada, we are building an international pediatric cardiac center and children's hospital for children from Israel and from all around the world.
Together with JNF Canada, we're going to build a new activity center that will help the needs of teens, children, and young adults of the Negev.
Together with JNF Canada, we're addressing the urgent need for mental health care in our psychiatric clinic and psychotrauma center.
Together with JNF Canada, we are restoring and rehabilitating Benjamin's Forest.
Together with JNF Canada, we're enhancing the lives of the community.
Together with JNF Canada, we've built a safe haven for girls with severe disabilities and complex medical conditions.
Together with JNF Canada, we're building a beautiful foster home for the children in Israel. This is the place. Beautiful, look.
Once again, I'd like to thank Professor Noked for joining us here today. I'd like to thank all of you for joining us here today. You received in the chat a link to where you can go to learn more about the Climate Solutions Festival happening on May 23rd and 24th here in Montreal, Quebec. You can subscribe to our newsletter and stay up to date on everything to do with the Climate Solutions Prize, including some very exciting announcements coming up, which we'll also discuss what will be happening in Israel for round 2 for us. As Mo mentioned, next week, a week from today, March 15th at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we will be having our third and final webinar where we will meet our last winner of the Climate Solutions Prize 2022. If you haven't already registered, please go register, join us. If you have registered, you will be receiving a reminder email with the Zoom information for that one as well. And in case you want to send it around and let your friends know, the link has been sent in the chat. Thank you again for joining us, and we hope to see you all soon. Take care.